Hi, my name is Sian and welcome back to the absolute chaos that is Sianian Books. Today I'm going to attempt to do a book haul. I've already filmed this once and the footage was corrupted, so I'm filming it again now. Kian's probably ripping pages out of the books. He was watching a movie, but now he's not. So I'm going to try filming it again on a different camera. And if this doesn't work, then honestly, I'm just going to delete my whole entire YouTube channel. The mullet is also looking not great today. Wolf cut, shag cut, whatever you want to call it. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can get him to do that. Okay, I think I've got Kian distracted now. So let's try again. Sorry, I'm a mess. My brain is a mess. But it's been pointed out to me that BookTube and Bookstagram and books is something that makes me happy. So getting back into filming, or trying my best at least. So this is my first book haul of 2022 and these are mostly books that I received as gifts. So in December and early January, because I had to celebrate Christmas with some of my family in January. So I really didn't buy myself very many books from this haul. So let's get into it. So first off, I received as a gift from my beautiful friend Sasha from the YouTube channel and Instagram Sash Reads. I'll leave her linked below, of course. But she sent me from my Amazon wishlist On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong, which honestly, like, I cried when this parcel arrived on my doorstep just before Christmas. So sweet of her. But this one is, I think it's a sad book. I really like the cover. And I think it is written in the form of letters from a son to his mother. And yeah, super excited to get to this one soon. So thank you, Sasha. Next up, from my wonderful friend April from Aprilius Maximus. Again, I'll leave her links. But she sent me the next two books in the Pages & Co series. So books 2 and 3, which are Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales and Tilly and the Map of Stories. And honestly, it's so amazing that April was the one that sent me these from my wish list, because I picked up the first book in this series because of April. It was in my video where I read her favorite books, and so it's just like full circle that she's buying me the next two in the series. That's amazing. And this is a sweet little middle grade series where this girl finds out that she can travel into books, and they are so cute under the dust jacket. They've got like little designs, and these should be really fun, quick, feel-good reads. Obviously it's middle grade, but it also has like pictures and the font's really big, so I'm definitely going to try and get to these soon. I'm also not very good at reading series, so I want to like get through them as soon as I possibly can. So thank you, April, for these. Next up, I will talk about the books that I received as Christmas gifts. So first up, I have a book that I've already read. This one is Sadie by Courtney Summers. And like I said, I've already read it. It's one of my all-time favorite books, but I did not own a physical copy. So I'm so glad that I received one for Christmas. I really want to reread this so I can annotate it. Pretty much everyone has read this, but it is a mystery thriller book about this girl named Sadie whose sister has died, and then she goes off on this mission to get revenge on the person who killed her sister. So we're following that timeline, following Sadie, but also we're following this podcast that is trying to figure out where Sadie is, because she's obviously run off now and she's missing. So the podcast element is really fun in this, and I'm sure you've already heard people talk about this book a million times before, but if you haven't read it, I definitely recommend it. I'm super excited to reread it, and I hope I love it just as much as the first time. Next up, I have a book that I saw a lot when it first came out, but I feel like I saw a lot of like 3-star reviews after that, so now I'm worried. But this one is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulley, which the cover is stunning. Pretty thick though, but I think this is like has a mystery element as well. I don't 100% know exactly what it's about, but I'm still willing to give it a try, even though I haven't seen a whole heap of 5-star reviews for it. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna love it, and yeah, that's so cool. Next, we have the final revival of Opal and Nev, which this one I saw getting compared to Daisy Jones and the Six quite a lot. I think because it follows a band as well, and it looks like there's like interview style chapters, and I loved Daisy Jones and the Six, and the way that that book is written is so unique. So I'm hoping that I love this one as well. I haven't seen a huge amount of people talking about this, but I'll give it a go. And next I have a non-fiction book called Trick Mirror by Gia Tolentino. I haven't heard very many people talk about this, but I did see it, I think, on Instagram maybe. And this is like a non-fiction to do with like social media and stuff, which I always find really interesting when that pops up in like fiction books that I'm reading. So I definitely would be interested to read about it more in a non-fiction. What happens to our behavior when we live mostly online? What does it mean to always be optimizing? And what is it about scams and the millennial generation? Offering nuanced and witty reflections on feminism, reality TV, the internet, drugs, identity, and more. A must read for anyone interested in the way we live and think today. So yeah, this one's pretty short, so hopefully it won't take me too long, but I think a lot of people have goals to read more non-fiction this year. I've seen in goals videos, and that's also mine, so get to this one soon. Next up, I have one that I have already read. I read it in January. If I do a January wrap up, then I'll talk about it then. But it is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, and this is the author that wrote The House in the Cerulean Sea, which obviously blew up everywhere and everyone was loving it. So this is his release from last year, and like I said, I've already read it and I'll talk about it more if I do a wrap up. But this one is about this man who dies, and that's in the synopsis, don't worry. He dies and this reaper comes to take him, and he ends up at this tea shop where he meets these people who are helping those who have died move on to like the afterlife sort of thing. But yeah, that's this book. Then next up, a book that I'm hoping to read this month is Wahala by Nikki May, and hopefully I'll be buddy reading this with Sasha, who is the one who told me about this book. She sent me a message and said this sounds like something you would like, and it does sound like something I would like. Ronki, Sini and Boo are inseparable mixed race friends living in London. They have a gift of two cultures, Nigerian and English, though they don't all choose to see it that way. So I'm hoping this is going to talk about race, and I think Books and Lala, I saw in her wrap up that she compared it to Big Little Lies, which as we know is my favorite book of last year. So I'm not going to try and expect too much out of it before I go in, but I'm hoping that this is going to be amazing. And then my last section of books to talk about are Book of the Month book, which I've spoken about Book of the Month on my channel before, but if you haven't heard me say, obviously most of you would know about Book of the Month, which is a service that does only ship to the US, and I do live in Australia. So if you're wondering, I have been trying out some like postage forwarding services. I still don't know if it's 100% worth it. I've tried out two now. One is cheaper, but it takes a while to deliver, and then the other one, I got it in 4 days of like posting it from the US, which is crazy to get from the US to Australia in 4 days. It might have even been 3, but it was way more expensive than the other one, obviously. So I'm still trying to decide if it's worth it, because depending on the weight, adding up the subscription service plus the postage, the books work out to be somewhere in like the 25 to 35-ish range, which if they're new release books, sometimes they are before the release date. A new release paperback in Australia, like this tall size of paperback when they first come out, they are 33 Australian dollars. So the Book of the Month ends up being the same as the paperbacks anyway. But Book of the Month really has just roped me in with like the fun aspect of like waiting for the books to get announced, and then seeing the 5 book picks get announced and getting to choose which one you want, which I do realize that I can just wait for them to announce the books and then I can just go and buy the book like myself. But I did try that in January, and then some of the books either weren't available yet in Australia, or like, I don't know, it just didn't work out. So they have really roped me in with like the excitement around picking the monthly books. But yeah, the books end up, by the time they get to me, being around the same price as if I bought the paperback new in stores, and I'm getting hardbacks, and I don't know. I'm still deciding if it's worth it, but for now it's fun waiting for the picks to come out and then choosing my books. So I've got it for now. But that's just my little spiel if you're wondering why I have books that are from Book of the Month and I'm in Australia. So just putting the disclaimer out there. But my December box, I got a non-new release. I actually got all books that aren't new releases because I wanted to complete my yearly reading goal. So I bought books that I had already read and I just didn't own. So the first one is The Death of Vivek Oji, which I did read in December and I absolutely loved it. So when I saw it was one of the member faves, I definitely got it because I would need this physical copy. I already feel like I want to reread it and annotate it, and This is basically about this character, Vivagoji, who dies. Would you believe? It's in the title, but yeah, it's just about Vivek's friends and family kind of coming to terms with their death and kind of the way they knew Vivek before they died, and then yeah, finding out things about Vivek after, sort of thing. I don't know, I don't want to say too much about this book because I feel like, I don't know, it's just better to read it knowing that Vivagoji dies. But yeah, amazing. And then I got Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Laurie Gottlieb, which I read earlier in the year last year. And again, I read the ebook from my library, and I needed the physical copy. After I read it, I went to go to my bookshop and get the physical copy, but it was $35 for the paperback, and I actually wanted a picture of it on my Instagram feed, so I took a picture in the bookstore of me holding the book because I didn't want to spend $35 to buy it. But now I have the actual copy, so I can reread this and annotate and highlight in it. It is a non-fiction about this therapist who's talking about being a therapist and going to therapy, as well as some dealings with patients that she has had, which doesn't sound super exciting, but it was a really impactful book. So, and then I got The Kiss Quotient, which this one is super backlist, but the third book just came out in this series this year, and I want to reread this. I obviously didn't own a physical copy, and then I will get the third book in a future box so that they match. I think I'm gonna like the third one more because it's supposed to be more hard-hitting, but yeah, they all have characters that are crossing over into all of the books. You could probably read them out of order, I guess, but this is the first one, and it is about the main character who has Asperger's, and she has never had a relationship or a boyfriend, so she hires Michael, this escort, to kind of teach her everything to do with having a boyfriend. And yeah, I am excited to reread this and see if I do still like it, because I've seen a lot of reviews lately where people are picking this up and not really enjoying it, but I read this a few years ago when it came out, so it came out in 2018, so that might be when I read it, and I really enjoyed it. So I want to reread this and then get to The Heart Principle, which just came out. And then for my January box, the main pick that I chose is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. This one I'm going to read in February as well because it is the monthly book for the NB Book Club, which is run by Jessie from Bowties and Books. And this one is about these two characters that fall in love on like a cooking reality TV show, I think. So it sounds really sweet, and obviously one character is non-binary, which is why it is the pick for the non-binary book club. And yeah, I'm excited to get to it. The cover's really cute too. And then I did, as always, get add-ons. The first one I've already read in January for the Lights Out book club is The Maid by Nita Prose, which I think I like the Australian cover more. The red one's cute too. And this one is about this maid named Molly who works at this hotel, and there is a murder that happens in the hotel, and she gets kind of swept up in the murder investigation. And this one, while it's pitched as like a mystery thriller, it's more of like a cozy mystery where it's more just like, there's a mystery in it, but it's not like scary and it's not a thriller. It's more to do with the character Molly. So if you are someone who likes contemporary books and you want to dip your toes into something that has a mystery in it, I would read this because it's more just like about the character Molly, and there just happens to be a murder mystery involved as well. I really, really loved this. Again, this isn't a wrap up, but yeah, I saw Molly getting compared to Eleanor Oliphant quite a fair bit, and I do agree with that because she definitely has similar character quirks. I don't know what you'd call it. And a lot of people in the discussion, as well as myself, did say that we thought that Molly seemed kind of neurodivergent, maybe on the spectrum somewhere, although it's never said in the book. So that's kind of like where that character that seems similar to Eleanor Oliphant comes in, although I don't think Eleanor is ever labelled as on the spectrum either, but it just seems like she is. I don't know. But yes, this is a haul, so it's the next one. And then lastly, I got Yinka, Where Is Your Husband by Lizzie Damilola Blackburn, which this one I was actually really excited to see it as an add-on because I did see something about it before the release date and it sounded like, again, a book I would like. It is basically about Yinka, a 30-something Oxford-educated British Nigerian woman whose mother's constant refrain is Yinka, where is your husband? And I think she gets invited to a wedding, and so she needs to find a date for her wedding. She's getting a lot of pressure from her family to follow, I guess, this road that is mapped out and expected of women to get married, have children, start a family, and she obviously has not done that, and now she's in her 30s, so I'm super excited to get to this one. Hopefully I can read it this month. And again, I really like this cover, so cute. But yes, those are all of the books that I've acquired since my previous book haul. I'm not going to try and pick them up because I tried that the first time I filmed and it didn't work. I can hear Kian coming. Hi. Great timing. I'm going to go now. Sorry if this video wasn't the best. Again, I've already filmed it once. I'm literally in my pajamas right now filming, and yeah, that's that. So if you watched to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot, and I'll hopefully film a wrap up soon if technology allows me to. But yeah, see you in the next one. Bye. Okay.